How does it feel to be leading your team into the ACC?
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. This is the third year with Coach Lashley here. We've got a great rhythm of how we want our culture of the team to go. I think there's no question we have as many pieces as we have to win an ACC championship. The biggest thing that we've been cultivating and building upon this whole summer is building that team culture, building that camaraderie to where we get into week 7, week 8, when it's the grind of the season. We'll be able to band together and tough out those games that are going to be tough. So we've got a good squad this year.
But as a student athlete, actually experiencing it, what has that been like, in the midst of all this realignment?
It's really cool. It's really cool. I think definitely when it comes to college football in Texas, I grew up an SMU fan my whole life. I've been in Dallas my whole life, and since I've been a kid, SMU has always kind of been the little brother that's trying to claw their way up and fight their way to the level of Texas, TCU, A&M. And now this will be kind of the first year where we're in that Power 4 conference and we get to establish ourselves as, we've always known that we're one of the better teams in the state, and this is kind of the first year where we have the schedule that lines up with, all right, week in, week out, we're going to have the competition that's going to be able to prove us as the best team in Texas.
Being a fan of this program your whole life and now being kind of the face of it as you guys enter a power conference, what has that been like? How does that feel?
It's been awesome. It's been awesome. I think what makes you wake up and want to show up to work every day is the guys that we have out here tonight that are helping out with the camp. There's especially as college football has gotten into the NIL world and where there's a lot more money involved, there's a lot more endorsements, all of that. That can get old after a while, and what makes you want to show up day in, day out is your brothers that you love and want to play football with every day. So it's the guys who you show up with and compete with every day that really make this worthwhile.
What do you think will be the biggest challenge playing in the ACC?
I think the biggest thing is just going to be it's going to be a championship level football game every week. Last year we had the Tulane game, we had the Memphis game. Obviously non-conference played OU, TCU, but within our conference we played Tulane, Memphis. Those are the kind of heavyweight battles that we had each week last year, and then we play 4 non-conference games, and then it's 8 weeks of heavyweight battles each week. So we definitely don't get a week off this year. That's probably going to be the biggest challenge.
How do you feel like being in a power conference this year kind of alters your playoff chances, especially if you guys do well in the ACC this year?
Well, it's very exciting. It's very exciting. I think every kid that grows up wanting to play college football wants to play in the national championship. And now that it's gone from 4 teams to 12 teams, that just gives you that much more of a chance to have a realistic shot of competing to play for a national championship. So we're really excited for that.
Coming off such a severe injury, how has it altered your perspective coming back?
I think it's cliche, but you just can't take anything for granted.
Yeah.
I'm 22 now. I've been playing quarterback since I was 8 years old, and I had an injury a couple years ago, but I was able to bounce back from that. And you start to learn as you're getting into your kind of last final years of college football that you start to realize you just can't take anything for granted. And what helps you realize and appreciate that is the guys that you have around that you love.
Yeah.
So, we're really excited. I'm really excited to go out and compete this year.
What do you think will constitute as a good season for SMU and yourself?
That's a good question. It can be easy to fall into kind of an outcome result kind of focused basis of what makes a good season, whether it's how many wins versus how many losses you have. I think what's going to constitute a good season for us is, can we show up every single Monday, week in and week out, and be prepared to play the team that we're playing, whether that's Florida State, Cal, Louisville, regardless of how much attention that game gets each week. can we have the exact same focus every single week to put on the best football performance we can, week in, week out? I think that would be a success for us.
Your quarterback's coach is DeAndre King. He was, a star not too long ago. What kind of role does he play in helping you, since he's, not so far removed from the game? What kind of help does he provide for you?
Yeah, Derek has been an unbelievable contribution to our team these past 2 years. I remember being a high school kid, getting recruited, and going on YouTube and watching DeAndre King highlights, and now he's my coach. And so it's very surreal. I think Derek's only 26, so it's very cool to have a coach that he can play the role of being the coach and the authority figure, and also the person that can meet you on the same level and know what it's like to be in your mid-20s in college and navigating all the different issues you need to have. But there are very few people that get to play college football that say their coach was a Heisman contender, and I look up to Derek, just as much as any other coach I've ever had, and it's really special to have him as a coach.
Why do you choose to be out here and participate in this particular program, this reading program?
Absolutely. Dallas is my hometown. Dallas is my city. You look at our roster, there's a ton of guys in our team that are from Dallas. I grew up in North Dallas most of my life. A lot of our team is from South Dallas, and it's from having those conversations with my teammates who went to Duncanville, Skyline, Carter, whichever it might be, where you get to realize that we didn't grow up around each other, but there's so many more similarities than differences that can bring us together. And I think the coolest thing about football is that you go into a locker room, and where you come from, what you look like, what your background is, it doesn't matter at all. You just want to go play football and go compete. And I think that's kind of our mission, kind of our initiative, is to bring kids around each other who wouldn't typically be around each other, and use football as a medium to have those relationships, have those conversations that might build into lifelong relationships.
And you could have gone to a lot of places out of high school. You chose SMU, and it was at the time considered a big get for SMU. Do you have any second thoughts of what if, or absolutely 100% glad you took the path you took?
Yeah, I'm 100% SMU. 100% SMU. Especially with, I could have never predicted by my senior year would be going to the ACC. There's just no better place for me to be. And so Coach Lashley has been the best coach I've ever had. Very, very grateful to be playing for him, Coach King, and also just be very grateful to be playing for these guys that I'm with right now. So,
Significant injury. What was the recovery process like?
It was tough. I broke my collarbone the year before.
Yeah.
Lower body injury it's a whole different animal, not being able to walk.
Yeah.
But definitely being able to go to school in my hometown, getting to stay with my mom and dad while I was going through the bulk of the recovery process was a huge help. So by about April or May was when I really got cleared, and by now I feel 100%.
When you came here, did you ever imagine that SMU would blow up to be at the level it is now and getting to play at this level conference-wise?
I don't know if I ever envisioned it being in the ACC like it is now. I think since I was getting recruited as a freshman, being in Dallas and being around SMU my whole life, you always kind of knew that it was kind of a buried treasure that was eventually people were going to notice, people were going to realize, like, this is a program that people are going to want to be at. I was a freshman year, so 5, 6, 7, 8 years from now. But could I be able to say that I could have planned all this out? No, and I just got to thank God for where I'm at right now, where the program's at right now, and how awesome my teammates are.